projects as well. The East End Food Co-op, the Pittsburgh Food Policy Council, PASA Sustainable Agriculture, and Grow Pittsburgh collaborated to bring together this series of virtual farm tours to commemorate Pennsylvania Urban Ag Week. Each webinar highlights a partner organization or two and an urban farming resources. We then take a 20 to 25 minute pre-recorded urban farm tour and conclude with an interactive Q&A with the representative of each of the gardens or the farms. We will be using the chat box feature to accept questions. So if you can locate that, usually it's at the bottom of your screen. That will be the way to share questions, and you can do that at any point, but they won't be addressed until the Q&A at the end. If you do have any technical issues, if you're logged in but having technical issues, you can also use the chat box and address any questions to tech support, and Kian will try to get you sorted out in that regard. If you do send a question though for the Q&A, please make sure it's sent to all panelists so that we're able to view and review that and share it out appropriately. If you've been on the tour with us before, you know that under normal circumstances, we'd be organizing a day of self-guided farm tours around the city. Usually 10 to 15 sites are available for folks to tour at their convenience. In past years, we've sold tickets, and the revenue from those tickets help to support the Pittsburgh Urban Grower Scholarship Fund, which provides professional development opportunities to growers in Allegheny County. Because our format this year is virtual and free of charge, it costs significantly less to organize and promote. So the $1,200 from our event and promotions budget is going to be donated to that fund, and the remainder of the budget will be used to provide an honorarium to each of our participating farmers in acknowledgement of their time and their efforts. The East End Food Co-op is also taking donations all this month as a part of their Register Roundup program. If you're local to Pittsburgh and you shop at the co-op this month, you can round up your purchase to the next dollar and at checkout, and those proceeds will benefit the Urban Growers Scholarship. They are also raising money through seed sales at the co-op. For every seed packet sold at the co-op all year, 25 cents is being donated to the scholarship fund. And they recently got a shipment of summer and fall seeds. So if you wanted to stock up and get ready for the 2021 season or the remainder of 2020, that's a great opportunity to support the Growers Scholarship and to support your own growing endeavors. Whatever your reason for joining us today, whether you simply want to see a beautiful urban farm from the safety and comfort of your home, or are a grower looking to learn from your fellow urban growers, or maybe interested in learning about resources available to help you on your own site, we believe that these webinars can provide great value to you. The work of urban farms is absolutely critical in revitalizing communities, providing fresh food access, improving the environment, and as an outlet for youth training and development. So we're very grateful to our urban farmers throughout the region. This afternoon, we'll have a chance to hear from the city of Pittsburgh and Shelley Danko-Day about the land access opportunities through the city. And then we're going to be hearing from Abdul Qadir Karambo at the Mwanakuche Community Garden about their efforts in the north side of Pittsburgh. Again, just a reminder, if you do have questions, please send them then to all panelists via the chat box. And we're really honored to have Shelley with us today and would like to turn it over to her to hear a little bit more about those land access opportunities.
Okay, great. Hi, everybody. My name is Shelley Danko-Day. I have been with the city of Pittsburgh for 6 years, and I am in the city planning department in the Division of Sustainability and Resilience. And my work has been around food systems work for the most part. My background is I was one of the first employees at Grow Pittsburgh. I was actually the second. And I ran the Edible Schoolyards program and established the two at Faison and Dilworth in the East End. And then we ran a summer youth program for a couple years, which was really incredible. So that sort of formed the base for my wanting to encourage and help people to learn more about agriculture and urban agriculture, because I just saw what an impact it had on the youth and how they really enjoyed it. And even with the heat and the bugs and the dirt and everything, it was really great to see that. So I went on to, I worked at Mildred's Daughter's Urban Farm in Stanton Heights and grew food there it was a working CSA. So got a share of food for the work that I did. And then I went on to get my master's at Chatham as a part of the first cohort in the food studies program. And then in 2014, I started with the city of Pittsburgh. So the main goal that I've had in mind is to help the food system be more accessible to people with the help that self-sustaining aspect of the food system. So from my position in city planning, we looked at urban agriculture as the main thing. So people can grow their own food. And we had just passed a zoning ordinance in 2011 that allowed for chickens and bees and urban agriculture as a main use of the land. So that was a good start, but the process took about 6 months and it was about $340. And that was just inaccessible to a lot of people. So in 2014, with the help of the Food Policy Council and Grow Pittsburgh and Grounded and a lot of other entities that had an interest in this work, and also some animal experts, we changed the zoning code to be permitted by right. It's an over-the-counter permit, reduce the cost to $70, and you can have chickens, ducks, bees, or miniature goats. So we kind of expanded it and reduced the price and reduced the barrier. And now today, you don't even need a permit for chickens. There are still regulations in place, but you don't need a permit to have chickens on your property. And that happened just in March. I guess they were getting overwhelmed with people wanting to have chickens in this global pandemic. Not really sure of the motivation. I just kind of heard it roundabout kind of way. But yeah, that's the case now. So you don't even need a permit for chickens anymore. And then we're also focused, part of my work was focused on farmers markets. The city runs 8 farmers markets in the city, or ran 8 farmers markets. We run 5 now. But we did a farmers market study to look at how to elevate the farmers market system and network. We're so lucky here in Pittsburgh to have within the city of Pittsburgh, we have a farmers market usually every day of the week during the season, and some of them have become year round too. And so we're really, really fortunate, but there was no real connection between the various farmers markets. And so as part of this study, we inadvertently created this network of farmers market managers, which has been really great, I think, for the farmers market system. And especially in this time of a global pandemic, that came to the rescue a lot when market managers needed to figure out how to run in a safe manner. So there was a lot of exchange of information and helpful information going back and forth, and that wasn't even possible a few years ago. So very happy about that. And then the third part of land use and food policy is the compost part of the food system. And so creating soil is very important, and that has turned out that wasn't actually allowed in the city. It wasn't, I guess it's not allowed. It wasn't like they were going to shut you down, but it was technically not in the municipal code to allow people to do composting. So if someone had a composting pile in their yard, they could be called, PLI could be called on them, and the inspectors would come out and they would say, we don't know what composting is, because it wasn't outlined in the code. So we wrote code and it passed last year. So that kind of completed the whole trilogy of the food system land use work that I was doing. But to back up a little bit, the Adopt-A-Lot program is what you want to talk about. That's the land access for people. That was around the same time as the Urban Ag Code was being updated, and they sort of went together really well. The Adopt-A-Lot program is the way in which people can access city-owned vacant lots for food, flower, or rain gardens. And this is the first time in the history of the city that people have a direct route to accessing land in the city. It used to be that you know, I know Grounded or GTech when it was GTech, Grounded when it was GTech, did quite a few projects on city land. And what their process was is they would enter the process through, they would know someone in real estate or know someone in the mayor's office or talk to somebody in DPW, and they'd say, okay, give me some information about your project. They'd review it and say, okay, now you have to talk to the other department, and now they require a whole bunch of different information, and then it would go on to another department and they'd require more information. And by this point, 9 months to a year had gone by and nobody was interested in doing the project anymore, although they were very committed to it. So they would still continue with their project even after that amount of time, but it was just really too much. And the city doesn't have the capacity to manage the 7,000 vacant lots that we have. So it didn't make any sense that we wouldn't have a way. So we got together with all of the various departments in the city and said, look, what are your concerns and what are you worried about happening on these vacant lots that we could help to address? And then we met with all the various organizations who wanted to do work on the vacant land and said, what sort of things are you hoping to do on these vacant lot projects? And then we brought all that together, and what shook out was the food, flower, and rain gardens. Those are the simplest to, if someone, for example, abandons a project, those are the simplest to remove if we need to. If it gets overgrown, it's just mowing it. And then we went to the law department and they created this whole long process and requirements for it and the agreements and stuff. But in the 5 years that the Adopt a Lot program has been in action, we have adopted out over 150 parcels. I think it's up to 160 now. And we've got 45 projects currently. And I'm adding to them every day. Most of them are food growing projects. Many of them are just beautification projects, and people want to grow flowers on the vacant lot next door, for example. We have both a lease and a license, which there are different requirements for each of them, but the license is if you're one person. We always talked about Miss Smith, who has a house was torn down next door to hers and it's vacant, and she just wants to maintain it and make sure it's not trashed and grow some flowers. And so Miss Smith can get a license, which is it's a 2-page application, and the agreement is 1 year. So it's one lot, one person for 1 year, for one season. So it ends at the end of the calendar year. And then there's the lease, which is for more, if it's more than one person, if it's a community group, if it's more than one lot, or if the intention is to have it be more than 1 year. And that way you get a 1 year lease to start with, and then you get a 3-year renewal lease after that. And that goes on. So that's where Abdul Qadir is. He comes into play. He's one of the Adopt a Lot leasees with this United Somali Bantu. The parcels that they use are city owned, and it's that space you have is 15 lots. It's kind of incredible. If you've never looked at the parcel map on the Allegheny County assessment website, it's really interesting to see how the city is laid out and how the parcels are laid out. I've learned an awful lot in this job. But yeah, so we've managed to, through the Adopt a Lot program, help to establish several gardens in food apartheid areas and really give people the power to grow for themselves and grow sustainable, have these sustainable projects and grow and be self-sustaining within their communities. And so I'm very proud of that, and I hope we could do that for many years to come.
Great, thank you so much, Shelley. And I think there will be links. There were links to Grounded in the chat box, and I think there'll be links to the Adopt a Lot program as well. So for anybody who is interested in getting more information on that, you can check out the chat box. I want to hand it over to Soil Sisters and Rainice to hear a little bit about the work that they're doing in the city as well. So go ahead.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Shelley. Thank you, Carlin, for having us on this call. I mean, we're in communication a lot, but Shelly, we've actually learned some things just hearing you speak. Kind of got our little thinking wheels turning about how we can actually take advantage of some of that stuff that the city is offering. So Soil Sisters, Rainice and Teray, are in the process of building a plant nursery in Belsuver. We have a private lot that our family owned for years. My grandparents owned a house that stood there, and over the past 10 years, it's been vacant. It was down due to a fire. And so in that time span between it burning down and present day, I've been at Bidwell for their horticulture program, completed that, and it exposed me to so many agricultural, horticultural things that just like started off as a small passion and then quickly evolved into a career interest. And Bidwell did an amazing job with connecting me with all types of variations of what that could look like, whether it was floral, whether it was food, whether it was the aesthetic part of it, where you just kind of wanted to beautify communities. Like, they had a really good handle on connecting you with all of that in a short period of time. And at the same time that was going on, my sister here, who's been at the University of Pittsburgh that whole time up until now, she kind of like picked up some of the things from me and what I was doing and found herself in a different area at the University of Pitt and was on the grounds crew. So between her knowledge on groundskeeping and my background at Bidwell, and then just like moving forward with my extern, I was at Brinkle's Greenhouse for about 2 seasons. We just really had a nice mesh of knowledge and information and just a different sense of exposure to our just day-to-day, just being outside, going to the grocery store, food we were buying, how we were preparing it. It just gave us a moment to really kind of look into how we were doing it, what we were doing it, and what we can do differently. And with that in mind, we just wanted to be a little more intentional about our food access and then our community as a whole. And we started to look around Belsuver and it just wasn't the same. I'll kind of let Teray speak on that.
Right. Like, so when we were younger, because we're like third generation Pittsburgh, both sides of our parents come from down south. So they garden on both sides. Like when we were younger, my maternal grandmother, our whole back was filled with everything. And then my father's father, he always had his mint and his tomatoes in the back, you know, just from the things that they were taught through their grandparents and so on and thus forth. So we always kind of had that niche. But in Belsuver, when we grew up, there was a lot of family-owned businesses, and there was a lot of Italian and African Americans in the community. And I feel like from both of those heritages, we just pretty much grew. So you were able to go to Tony's Market on Climax and get your collards and your kit. Like my grandma was sending us up there with her change and everything, you know, like go get this for dinner if she didn't have it. And that's how we grew up. And things just changed. You know, things slowly just started to deteriorate and it just was not the same. And as we gotten older, she wanted to go back to school for horticulture. And I was like, wow, we never really kind of thought about that. And it was just so interesting to get back into it. And it was just a calming, pleasant thing that we were doing. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna go to our grounds department. And that was kind of a hardscaping, but that was also different knowledge where I was learning about insects and just different type of grass treatments, your shrubbery, your trees, things of that nature. So it kind of comes together when she's doing fruit trees and I have regular trees, or the different pests that we need, beneficial pests versus the non-beneficial pests. And we just were like, we have all of this knowledge and people really don't know this stuff, especially where we come from. So it's time that, you know, when you have something that's good like this, you just don't want to keep that knowledge to yourself. You need to expand that to other people so people can know, and it continuously goes on, because I feel like that was a disconnect. You know, there were people who knew the knowledge and it didn't get passed down for a few generations, and there's a gap, you know, and we're trying to put that back into people. And that's our main goal. Like, that's what we want to do.
So Grow Pittsburgh, after having been to Brinkle's, completed, Bidwell's training center, I ended up at Grow Pittsburgh, and they were really instrumental into how to put all of that together. So my full-time job as a learning garden educator really kind of exposed me to, like Shelly said, where the youth needed to be connected more, be incorporated more into this idea of, you know, being connected with our land and just getting them into this more space of connection and not disconnect. A lot of the things that I heard from some of the kids whenever we were out on a sunny day, the first thing they want to say to me is, I'm not a slave, I'm not doing this type of work. And so having an opportunity to kind of, you know, narrate that thinking in a way where you can kind of, one, understand your history and the complete difference in what you have in today's time versus then, and then get to see the progression in it and the resiliency in that, and feel empowered by those skills and those opportunities and the knowledge that they had to be able to feed themselves, having been experiencing the things that they have. So whenever we can, you know, kind of dismantle that line of thinking and then actually get kids to see that this is fun, this is beneficial, this is something that'll help you and your family, you start to kind of create this bridge that develops an interest that you can say, you know what, there's a job for that. Like, you can get paid to do that. And that's just kind of the way, the entryway for the younger kids. And then we had the older kids who were in high school and they're like, oh, so can I grow weed? And I'm like, you could, but first you need to grow this tomato. No one's going to hire you to grow cannabis if you don't know how to keep this rosemary alive. So when you start to talk to them in that sense and you start to tell them, like, here you have a school garden, I want you to go to your to the garden team leader and tell them every week I'm going to come and I'm going to maintain this, and I want you to come back and check and see what I did and keep a report so that they can speak on your behalf that you've been here since this garden was created. You've come every week. You've identified things. You've done all of this work, and whenever you continue to build on, then someone would trust you to come and work for them. And so it's kind of just changing the concept and the idea that these kids are kind of initially getting when they think about growing and doing things. So our nursery is the business that will, you know, show them that this is the end goal, and then it's just not enough to make it a business. You know, we took some time off of doing our pop-ups because, like, we're in our basement, we don't have the nursery yet, it's still in process. But keeping in mind that the kids are what's really going to be the puzzle piece to make this connect, we're like, we have to do a camp. And so we're in a process of doing our 5-week summer camp. It's 1 day a week, and that has been so fun. I mean, we've been having so much fun getting kids, 1 and 2 community centers that haven't quite been utilized. So there's 2 community centers that are in very close proximity of each other. One has a summer camp, Voices Against Violence, that happens, and we're really familiar with that. And then we have another community building, the Belsuver Neighborhood Council. They do some art projects, or they do some after-school programming, but there's not a whole focus on the outside component and just like the walk from one center to the next, all the things we could identify. Or the 2 parks are connected by a huge trail that you can take the trail and walk down from one park to the next. And like, Pittsburgh Parks has done an amazing job revitalizing that space. So we just really want to incorporate all of that into our community and just kind of get it activated and kind of get people on board with just like coming outside, growing their food, being on trails, doing crafts, and figuring out what careers they can have as youth.
Right. And then so like, I just know with a lot of the kids, it was, you know, if they grow it, right, then they want to try it. So it's like with her daughter, she's 11. Did not like tomatoes, right? So it was now she doesn't say she doesn't like tomatoes. She knows she doesn't like red tomatoes, right? So we had to identify exactly what they want, because if you go to Giant Eagle, there's not a lot of variety. So we want to give variety, right? So like my niece is like, she loves pink peach tomatoes. She loves green zebra tomato. You know, it's just, she doesn't like red tomatoes. But that's the thing that we had to identify with these kids. You know, like they're like, oh, they don't like lettuce, but they don't even know that lettuce comes in different colors than green. Sometimes it's about beautifying the plate. You know, we eat with our eyes first. So when we're able to tell that to these kids and they can see it being grown, actually where it comes from, the seed, or if it grows on a tree, or if it grows from a vine, if it trestles, all these different components that comes with it. And then the parents are like super excited. They're like, well, where's our camp at? And where's, you know, like, where do we get to know? And it's like off season, you know, we have to have these just like we're doing now. We have to have these conversations with the parents and let them know what's going on, because for one, they're the ones with the money. They're the ones that's paying for the stuff, right? But I can't have the child be so knowledgeable in a certain aspect and the parents so disconnected as well. I need it to be a whole family cycle. I need for the parent to be just excited about going into the garden and digging up, you know, and getting the pods so they can grow. And we can like, oh, look at this tomato and this size. And does it have aphids? Did a worm get in there? You know, we need to have these different type of conversations. So the whole family has to be knowledgeable, and like that, we understand that, and we just want to do that. But also, we don't know everything. Right. So, you know, we just want, you know, like our camp, there's so many organizations that wanted to come and do demonstrations for our campers, and we love that. You know, when we have a speaking engagement, we would love for you all or whomever to come and speak to our audience to give all of this beneficial information, because there really is a disconnect. We are city girls. We're like straight Pittsburgh, not outside, south side, one bridge across, right? So it's like, we know that there's a disconnect in the inner city, and we're really just trying to reconnect it, because it didn't get to be that way. Belsuver was originally farmed land. Mr. Belsuver, that was all farming, you know what I mean? So it's there, and we can tap back into that.
Yeah, so overall, we just like basically are at the real grassroots of it, and we have these very ambitious ideas, but we know that they're possible. We know that they're necessary. We know that there's a community of organizations, partners, and people who have the same line of thinking. We're just daring enough to just do it. We're just out here. We're just going to do it, and we'll figure it out as it comes along. So thank you all for listening.
That's great. Thank you so much. We're going to transition now to our video presentation. If I could ask all of the speakers to please mute and stop your videos, just so we can increase our
So I will say welcome to everybody at Mwanakuche Community Farm, and it's located on 2234 North Charles Street in Pittsburgh area. And my name is Abdul Kadir Chirambo, and I'm also the manager of the farm. This is like 0.75 acres. And as far as this is our third year doing this on the same site. It was a lot program through the city where Shelly Dankode helped us through the process while we are working together until the site became on hand, with also connecting with other farmers that they were doing farming before us. We have vegetable crops, and also, yeah, that's all we have here. And for example, lettuce, hot peppers, jalapeno, sage, mint, including strawberry, zucchini, squash, okra, corn, basil, Italian basil, honey nut, squash, like tomatoes, different kind of tomatoes, garlic, onion, yellow onion, red onion, and kale, Swiss chard, and so other stuff. It's like 33 plants in this farm. But as we projected for the next couple of years, we are moving to do microgreen as we get the equipment that we need and the technical, as we asking people to train us how to move forward with that. Right now, the product usually goes to the community and also other common, like food bank area, Northside Common Ministry. But this year is very challenging for us, and the style or what we're going through right now is not something that we are ready. And also in terms of receiving assistance, we are far behind according to the farm, and because the community needs everything to be packaged and labelize and put it together in a box because of where we are today, and we cannot just clean it and try to put it out, and there is untrust things going on, even though there is another belief in terms of who we are, and for that reason mostly everything is staying in the farm right now, and the other communities who can come around and take something from it. Other than that, we don't know what to do with it, and we try to collaborate with other farmers to find an idea or a solution how we can harvest this year, but that's still not happening, and that's a lack of funding. Yeah, I'm originally from Somalia. That's where I was born, and I grew up in Kenya refugee camp for 13 years, and now in the U.S. So if you have a farm, there is food, but there is no farm, no food. So, and for that reason, that's how we contacted. They said as soon as they arrive in the United States, everybody start looking for like where to farm, where to farm, where to farm. Uh, Even though Pittsburgh took like about 7 to 8 years to realize they have farmers as a refugee or immigrant in Pittsburgh area, but they never realized that these people can make this kind of difference in their neighborhood area. So, but I will say it again. I'm happy that Shelley was the one that understand, and a couple of other partners to fulfill and what kind of actions they will do, and today they are very helpful because they're not just sitting or collecting food stamps. They do help their neighbors. They do volunteer for other stuff. They do go to work, and so for that reason, that's where I learned and take over the farm from them, because they wanted to train us, teach us what they know, and we are also learning as because all they did was hand stuff, but today they involve technicals and all of the other things that you can do while you're farming, and so and in adding both together, it become a good help for us to take it over. So as you guys see the picture of piggeries here, and we leave this inside the plant because it tracks the insects all around, so that you don't have the food the insects to eat, as we stay organic. So we don't want to add anything on top of what the plant is. Once they get all the way ready to go, so all we do is pull it out and either lay it down on the ground and wait for 3 weeks and till it over on top of it, so that it will help the soil to increase the availability to get better too. Kale, and you guys can see this is our first season growing this kind of kale, and we make it more because when I saw at the Walmart and bought, it has like different tests than the green kale. Uh, Different tests than the green kale. The different tests I realized was like I add meat to this one, and it kind of felt like the ingredients of the meat and all of the vegetables that I add on top of each other, this brings different message than the other one. So, and for the fact of that, when I know the communities, when they use or cook any green stuff, they either add beans or meat on top of all of the ingredients, and I realized this will be a better test, and uh, right now we make it a little more space for that, and everybody start already saying, yeah, you are right, you are right. So we also helped our communities to tell the recipes that's best of what we planting here sometimes. So when they ask of how to put it together, which one the best flavor of what you're growing here. As me being a young farmer from the elders, sometimes I ask things when I see things like in my way it's it needs to be fixed or it needs to do something with it. So I asked them, why you guys not working or do anything with the onion when it's bent like this? But they say, no, that will not affect anything. So it will still grow normal way and all of that. And also the other one was like, uh, as you can see here, some of them are 6 inch away from each other. Some of them are not close to 6 inch to each other. So, and it's like creating a season to last more and also creating something for the like as soon as possible to get ready. So, and that's the way they plant it here all the way to over there. And that's like 1,300 plant of red onion and yellow onion, or red onion and white onion. So it's mixed half and half, so half and half. And they did it this way, and as I'm believing right now, according to what they say, it's been true. So because it's still coming into it and getting there, and all of this, yeah, it keeps popping up with a better way, with like not feeling any issues. So, but I had a little bit worry in my heart, even though I did not repeat it again. But when I see like things working well, so I just say, okay, so you learn from this, but and yeah, and you guys can see that too. These are the tools that's most beneficial that the elders use inside the farm here. Uh, some of the elders they may have back pain, and some of them they may have some other stuff. But when they come out here as an exercise, so they have one that can still work and one that can still work while they're sitting or either standing, that they don't have to bend over so that their back can start pain. Also, and the other thing is sometimes the high blood pressure with all of that, being in the house all the time, not having a job or not able to go to job, because inside the community everyone used to do either housekeeping in a hotel or dishwasher in a bar area or any other food areas, which is 90% of those areas are not open right now, clearly. So, and right now, the community is dealing 80% of lack of employment. And also, when I'm also having a feeling where they will not able to go back to relocate their same jobs because of the safety that they have on site at the jobs, and how the community is like, speaking second language. So they're not prioritized, even though some of the locations are open, they're not still get called to go back to work. And for that fact, they sitting home and traumatized. And the other challenge was like they learn they will have to go to work, kids go to school. On top of that, the responsibility of being home changed at this time. What made the change? The change like before, kids used to go to school, but now when that COVID-19 happened with the community that's not ready, everyone in the world was not ready. But our side, we were not ready. First, we don't have the background of teaching your own son. Second, we don't have the background of education. Third, it is like as we come in United States, we never get to spend in 8 hours with these kids. They had to spend 10 hours outside the house. Figuring out it's already July right now. What is it gonna happen going back to school next year? So it's leaders inside the community. Volunteering is help, but what the community need right now, volunteer is cannot get it done by volunteering. So same as here, like we used to do everything by volunteer, but today the hours and the package and the rule of management that needs like you have to spend here normal operation as a job. So because packaging, making sure everything with how it needs with the health department required in the farm area, that cannot get done by volunteer. So and it's hard. It's just hard, and that's why we're here. But this is the best tools that helps to the community when they come around. If they're feeling back pain, if they're feeling trauma, if they're feeling blood pressure, if they're feeling, we really come here and sit under this shade and talk about the history. So, and as I come here, I'm not a counselor or I'm not any specialized doctor, but me growing inside the United States, I feel like I receive different kind of degrees as I'm learning from the issues inside the community to support what I learned from other communities around here. So, and that benefit most of them when they realize something, and I will always say, if you don't have the power, if you don't have the power to do things that you need, don't put pressure enough that you will be able to do because you won't able to do it. You don't have anything, all of the resources that you need, including myself too. I can try to talk about it, sending out emails when possible, but it's still, there is no places like the way we used to go directly to what we need. So, and that makes things uh, difficult to them understanding. As me being a young farmer from the elders, sometimes I ask things when I see things like in my ways, it needs to be fixed or it needs to do something with it. So I asked them, why you guys not working or do anything with the onion when it's bent like this? But they say, no, that will not affect anything. So it will still grow normal way and all of that. And also the other one was like, uh, as you can see here, some of them are 6 inch away from each other. Some of them are not close to 6 inch to each other. So, and it's like creating a season to last more and also creating something for the like as soon as possible to get ready. So, and that's the way they plant it here all the way to over there. And that's like 1,300 plant of red onion and yellow onion, or red onion and white onion. So it's mixed half and half, so half and half. And they did it this way, and as I'm believing right now, according to what they say, it's been through. So because it's still coming into it and getting there and all of this, yeah, it keeps popping up with a better way, with like not feeling any issues. So, but I had a little bit worry in my heart, even though I did not repeat it again. But when I see like things working well, so I just say, okay, so you learn from this, but and yeah, and you guys can see that too. Challenge this year is how to harvest inside the community while we go through this the time that we have to live the moment we are in right now is like first we were not set up and second we're not ready, third no training, uh, and in the middle of that is like uh, we usually like to learn things, visualize, and everything is through technology. So that's like that was the number one biggest challenge we went through. Second, with as we being the farmer inside the area, harvesting was another one big role when we got to this, and we were saying maybe it's gonna go over, and but now not yet. Things like still hustling back to back. So and we're still in a situation where it's too hard for us to harvest through the neighbors right now because of lack of trust with the health issues going on around here and all of that, and the not and who we are, and that makes things really harder. So and we have all of these parts that can benefit the community, but how the equipment and the package is to put together, we don't have that funding or resources that we can put and budget it and how the community wants to fit to get to their door. And that's the biggest challenge we have right now. As you see, all of this stuff is gonna be ready within the next 2 3 weeks. Some of them they're ready right now, like the squash, called kale, and so anything that's like 6 weeks grow stuff are ready right now because we started from May 5th to right now, and so we have a lot of stuff that we can sell out. There is a lot of stuff that we can donate it, but it's just like the trust we had from the neighbors and all of that is gone now from us, and that's the challenges we're in. The trust is gone because of the COVID-19, and so because number one is English is our second language. Number two, COVID-19, nobody knows in which way to react to cover with how what you are doing, and for that fact, everyone believes different. And what we do, even though we follow the health department rule, it's still hard to communicate with the neighbors or other people around the area. So the biggest success is how we get ready and make it through the year and where we are today's time. And like even though all of that is going on, the farmers, the volunteers, it never been more than 4 people on a site, and we set up all of that plan. And before we get used to call up with the neighbors to call all volunteers that's available, but this year was like just 4 people did all of this you guys see today. And it wasn't easy, but we have a heart. How can we feed our neighbors? So we have a heart. How can we clear the poverty around where we live? So we have a heart that's a peaceful mind setting up when every time we see a trauma or any traumatized backflash from what we've been through in fleeing from the country of Somalia all the way Kenya, the stressful. We grow up inside the refugee camp, and as we come in United States, sometimes we get backlash, and what we do is just come out to the farm and figure out things, and that's how much we're into it. But on the other side, we're fixing our life through what we do every day to succeed for our community and for our families. So as you guys see here, it's not clean enough. So we left this space to put a high tunnel area so that our season to be switched over to long season and instead of what is happening right now, because anything after October things start going down. But also in December we start planting for some of the stuff too, because right now we have a plan for the December and all the way to what we can do next that we learned last year. But the high tunnel will still keep us progress some of the stuff that more benefit to the communities to have on site the whole season. To put the high tunnel is already approved, and but it's gonna be right exactly in this area where you see these letters and from here and where it ends. So and that's where it's gonna be for the high tunnel. So this is how much we have done this year and in food safety and harvesting inside the community. And but inside the community, as you can see, this is not the only site that will be working on it. There is another site coming up with a different operation in Mercer County area. It's gonna be in Grove City. That's like 10 times bigger space than this, but their operation on that is different because they scale around to bring different side of the culture for that area. Mercer County operation is to create a good spot in like Western Pennsylvania to have a place for halal meat exactly close enough for other business that are struggling around Pittsburgh, all around Western Pennsylvania area, Muslims or any other people that trying to test the different style of meat that's possibly available in Western Pennsylvania area, and which is that's gonna be halal area, kosher, goat, beef, chickens, and some other microgreens. Especially the microgreen operation will be the biggest in that area, including with the meat farm, and so that's what they're gonna do. Some of the stuff will be produced just for the goat and the cow, just for the goat and the chickens we have. So we are not gonna start with the cow in the first space. So, but the goat and the chickens are the priority on that side, and including with what they can eat. And the microgreen is the second space for that to be started in Mercer Farm soon enough, especially between July all the way to the next in the future. So July will be the first opening, like in the middle of July or the end of July will be the first things that they will do in Mercer for starting new operation over there for the communities. Everything that grows over there, as we in the agreement, is supposed to help the poverty area in Allegheny County. So most of the stuff we have to follow that rules and to help this Allegheny County area to support enough to create the poverty target area to help as a community. So, and we are learning, our neighbors training us, our partners training us. We collaborate a lot with the other farmers. We collaborate a lot with the other people who are welcome to support us, who are welcome to train us, who are welcome to train to support how to lead and how we can organize things on our own and to better our future life with the community and the neighbors around us. I will say thank you to Pastor and for stopping by and visiting about, you know, the farmers that support around the area. So, and I would say thank you for coming, stopping by. Also, not only that, thank you for inviting any trainings that going on. Thank you for inviting any other opportunities in the leadership of farming that you do too. Because in this world, we succeed everything by the others, by how others do, and by collaborating and telling each other, and also rephrasing of how you do stuff and how the other partners is doing to collaborate to make a better management for our people inside United States. And I will say thank you.
Okay. All right, thank you very much. Abdul, if you want to unmute, we'll do some Q&A here. There was a question about the video did repeat there just a little bit. Looks like we missed an edit point, but you get to hear about the onions twice. So I guess the first question is produce available to normal, just regular folks, or are your channels pretty, are you selling just to, how limited are your sales channels, or where's your product going, Abdul? You'll have to unmute yourself there.
Say it again.
Okay, is your product available to the general public, or is it going through specific channels?
My product is available to general public, and right now there is no place going except it used to go to Northside Common Ministry a lot.
Okay. There was a question about soil and soil quality and soil building that's been mentioned in several of the presentations. So, and then also about water, addressing water needs on properties. Do you want to go ahead?
Sorry, this is Shelly. Yeah, so the city does provide. Go ahead, Abdul.
And are you good, Shelly?
Well, we did have a program where we would put in free water meter pits for organizations on city lot projects. But then we had an audit from the PUC, and it turned out that every time we would install a meter pit, it cost us $5,000. So now we're limiting that. We've got some grants to do limited number of meter pits. I think most of the farms that were like Abdul Qadir has, you guys have a meter pit, right?
Yes.
Water access, and I think the other gardens do as well. But going forward, we won't be able to put them in for free, but we do give, I believe it's 25,000 gallons of water, which is a pretty good amount for farming that is for free from the PWSA, from the city. And we also encourage people to do rain barrels as much as possible, like off of the shed or whatever structure you might have, or even standalone rain barrels, to do as much of that, especially in certain areas. Although that wouldn't have been much help this year. It's been pretty dry.
Yes, like Shelley said, that is true, and it's limited water up to 25,000 with the city. And but in our system way of gardening or farming is different, as the elders learned from previous, with a place that used to be 12 months, but 6 months of raining only, and the farm operates the whole year with no raining system or no other system that they used to use. So they plan over some of their stuff, and they know with 2 weeks, if it doesn't rain, how far you can create or help your plants while it's not raining. So that's the experience they have. They also have another experience where they can find out the plants you have in your farm, how far can it reach out to down in the ground to create water from down the seas. So there is also, you have to think about when is it possible to do that work. So, and our elders usually do that in the evening time where they know like at night it's not 90 degree, but it could be around 60 degree. So they dig the ground and help support the plant to receive some more nutrient inside down there. And at night when it starts defrosting, then it will create more water on it. And in the morning when you wake up, it's all water where you left it dry. So, and that is how they use, and they set up their own measurement of using the water when like it rains today and about maybe all night, but then they will not go to the farm that day. So they will wait until about 3-4 days. They will come out, see how it looks like. If like, yeah, it could be rain all night, but they wait 4 days, they come back, see the farm, how the soil is, and what kind of weather was it the last 4 days. They also check on measurement of that too, if it was 90 degree or if it was 80 degree all the time. And then after that, they will try to do up to like a 3-inch digging the plant area. And if it's all dry, then they will see the support that they can get to that. So, and that's how we sustain our water at the farm. Second thing, somebody, uh-oh. You guys lost me?
Nope, you're good.
So second thing was question about the soil. Question about the soil. In soil wise, we ask, and I don't think we need any more soil right now because last year we received 20 lot of private assistance from Bob Mystic, that, and he also have houses around the area where the garden is. So, and that's where we receive our soil from to help the rest of the year. And the soil is always good because anything that grow from the farm, we live right there, and it keeps creating better and better and better. And that's why our products is all the time good. Now we have 90% of growing cucumber in our area. So, and but 2018 was not like that. So.
Okay. One of the things for the other gardens on the tour, I think it's mostly compost applications, whether that's soil surface and incorporating, in the case of Soul Patch, and a lot of digging to get out all that debris, or compost and soil mix applications at Duquesne. So that's the way I think most of our sites are dealing with soil quality issues right now. Some are doing rainwater capture, but a lot are also using municipal sources. Abdul, there's a request for you to repeat the garden address again.
Yeah, that is 2234 North Charles Street.
And I will say that the lot is kind of a wedged lot that looks down toward downtown. It's a great site there.
Thank you.
There's a question here, and maybe this is to Shelley or maybe to somebody else from the panelists, just about wood chips from power line clearing and otherwise. The question, to their question, it would help to retain moisture and suppress weeds. Procuring wood chips is a perennial challenge, though. I don't know if anybody else wants to discuss that.
What wood chips you say?
Yeah. Have you received wood chips at your site?
Yes, last year, and that was 9 loads of wood chips last year. And this year we did not do it, and because we had enough last year, and it still did not fertilize enough to switch over to soil yet. So, but it's somewhere way about 3 inch far in the ground.
This is Shelly. Yeah, wood chips have been a thing that I have had an interest in the entire time I've been working for the city. When I worked for Grow Pittsburgh 15 years ago, we would chase down Bartlett Tree Service and other companies and say, hey, dump over here. And that's how we would get our wood chips. I know a lot of people, probably some on this panel, have done that themselves. So when I started working for the city, it was the logistics, I think, is the hardest part. It's not that we don't want to give them away. We literally spend money paying someone to take away our wood waste. So trying to figure out how to coordinate that has been a huge uphill battle. So if there's anyone with a technology idea of how we could solve this, I think it's a matter of like when we do tree work and we have so much, we have to get of it right away to make room to do more. And so we need to figure out where that can go. And they do have the map of vacant lots, but they can't just dump it. And there's the idea of wires and curbs and all these other factors. So I've been working with the forester, our city forester, Lisa Chaffee, for years on trying to tackle this problem. So if you have any ideas, we're definitely open to it.
If you are able to accept larger and full loads of chips, there's a service called Chip Drop that is trying to get started here in Pittsburgh. There are limitations as far, you have to be able to accept an entire load, and you basically have to accept it on their schedule. So that for a certain type of site and a certain type of individual or homeowner, that can be useful, but it's not great for everyone. Rainice, do you want to talk about the GRC and the opportunities there for anybody?
Oh, yeah. I would love to talk about the GRC. And so the GRC is a tool lending library that Grow Pittsburgh has in the Larmer area. And so there's soil, topsoil, compost, wood chips. And as a member, you are given an allotment of each of those each month. There's straw bale as well. The tools aren't being lent out, but there are a bunch of tools that are available for lending and other soil amendments that you can use to treat your garden and things of that nature. I think that the Garden Resource is an amazing center that should be replicated in other spaces. Hopefully Soil Sisters has the opportunity to do that. That's actually been something we've been thinking about. I've been spending more time at the GRC, and just through having been one space that I volunteered at or helped at in Grow Pittsburgh before this transition now where I'm spending more time there, just the community sense that's there, the members that are there, and the resources that are available, I really think is instrumental to that area. I find that people come to rent those tools not only to care for their garden spaces, but neighboring spaces around them that, you know, sometimes you know that this yard needs to be mowed, but you just don't have the means to do that, or you don't have a lawnmower. So having the Garden Resource Center there, I think really gives people who are a member a sense of community that goes beyond just their front and backyard. And so I love that about that idea of it. And then, like I said, being able to get a lot of those amendments and a lot of that soil and a lot of the other components that are offered to the members is a money saver. You know, whenever you go out to buy some of that stuff, I mean, like just the soil alone is something that's beneficial. And then the compost, you know, just those three options for your garden will save you all types of money. And then the volunteers and members donate things. So there's pots that are there for you to take, and yard sales that happen. So the GRC is an amazing place to be a member of if you aren't. Right now, we aren't accepting new members, but it's definitely something that you should keep an eye out for, because I think going into the fall, potentially we'll start to look into offering that again, taking on new members.
Great.
And Alyssa's here. If I missed anything, she definitely can fill us in on anything I may have missed.
No, I second your enthusiasm, and I think you did a great job describing it.
Abdul, there's a question about whether or not or how much communication you have with the other Somali refugee communities around the country. Are you in touch with them, and does that affect your farming at all?
Well, when I talk in terms of around the Somali community inside the country, yes, I do have connection to all 50 states in the United States. We're leaders up to 500 of us volunteering for the community of Somali Bantu inside the United States. We also have 3 or 5 guys from Canada. So, and it's a big role, and in farming, they all want to do the same thing, but right now focusing around how they can help each other. For example, the one of Lancaster, PA, and the one of Erie, Pennsylvania. Ohio, they have one. Maine, they have one, but in Texas, it's a big state, and they don't have anything over there. So, yeah, I do have connection with all around the state.
Okay, great. So we are basically at time here. Let me just pull up my notes. So I want to thank everyone for participating today, for the great conversation and the great questions. The session was recorded, and we'll be sharing out a link tomorrow morning with all of those who have registered. So you'll have a link to all 3 of our sessions, so you can review them, watch them again, see ones you weren't able to see, and share them out with anybody. Please do share them with your networks because of the limited nature of people's time and all of that. And some people just weren't aware of the tour in time. Please share it out with anybody that you think might benefit or be interested. We are coming to the end of Urban Ag Week, but wanted to highlight that Grow Pittsburgh's virtual Zucchini Week is continuing through today. I think somebody can drop a link to that in the chat for review, but there's been a whole series of activities, zucchini and cucumber related this week, so that's exciting.
It's more than.
I would like to thank everyone who participated today, Shelley Danko-Day, Renice and Teray. Thank you to all the partner organizations who helped put this together, the Pittsburgh Food Policy Council, East End Food Co-op, and Grow Pittsburgh. I want to thank Abdul Qadir for speaking and for being available and a part of all of this. And we can't overstate the importance that Urban Ag has for the folks that we've highlighted and for our communities in general. They contribute to improve our communities and our economies in so many ways. We want to thank everyone for taking time out of their day and for their interest in urban agriculture and these sites. And we want to thank all of you who are working in urban agriculture, and for those of you who support us. You really make it possible to do what we do. So with that, I'll say thank you, and we hope everyone has a great day.
Thanks, Dan. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for inviting me. It was nice.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Bye.